Ooh, yeah.
Johnny Bravo today. Ooh, Bones, who is this?
This, JJ, is the Brass Cats.
No way!
Yeah, man! The motherfucking Brass Cats. We got a hold of them guys. Those fucking uber famous, awesome band. My favourite band in the world. We managed to get them to come and join us.
And what song are
And
they
you
we
fucking
singing?
believe it. This song is called Big Fat Hippie Girls.
It
and
is.
it is an ode to all those lovely hippie women out there. Big up yourselves.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a special episode. This is
It
a
is.
special episode. It's not because we have loads of podcasts booked, which for one reason or another suddenly,
Couldn't be released. That definitely didn't happen.
That did not happen. And it's not late because we've been horrifically busy either.
And being busy makes things not late,
Exactly.
technically. So,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
very sorry for you guys if you've been waiting the last few weeks on a Tuesday morning, waking up with a massive hard on and being like, where's my how to write a tune? Real sorry, we've been busy as piss.
Yeah,
Warmed
but-
up piss.
But the warmed up piss guarantee says How to Write a Tune will always release something every goddamn week.
It just
So,
might sometimes be Thursday.
it just might sometimes be a few days late. Hell's bells. It might even be Sunday at like 11:59, but we will release weekly. This week, it's going to be just me and Bones. We don't need no guest. We don't need no guest.
And like this is a little build up because in a few weeks there'll be another secret episode that this will kind of build towards.
Yeah.
We'll lay some groundwork for the big episode.
You know
50.
what? It doesn't have to be a secret. Say
Yeah.
it.
Well, there'll be another Brass Cats episode
Oh,
in 3
yeah.
weeks, but with all of the Brass Cats.
Yeah.
You lucky. I mean, which we don't even get to see all of them very often. So.
No, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's
just to
gonna
see the boys.
Anyway, who's this show brought to us by, Jay?
Oh, you know, Tony, thanks for asking. Without you, I may have forgotten that this episode of the podcast is brought to you by the Roadie Tuner. The Roadie Tuner is an automatic handheld tuner. What does that mean? Tell what you explain what it means. You've seen it, you've played with it.
I have. I even tested it out on my super sketchy old the C guitar, nylon string. Pegs are just rusty as fuck, and it conquered. I mean, the motor. I had to loosen the pegs a little bit to get it all in tune. To get the motor. The motor, obviously, at a certain point, it just doesn't have man strength.
Sure, sure.
But it's beautiful. It did a great job once, and it's learning the guitar like we've spoken about before. You put it on your tuning peg, and it just does it for you.
Yeah.
You pluck the string. You tell it what you tell the app what note you want it to be, and boom, it tunes it for you.
It literally turns the
And
tuning peg for
you
you.
create a profile for your guitar, and it slowly
And then it
learns.
learns. So
That
let's
guitar.
talk
it
about-
stops. So it every time at the start it'll do like big turns while it's trying to figure out the thing, and then.
But exactly, but it learns. But I stopped you. Sorry, I was waving at you. That's my fault.
Yeah. I could just let that playing quite happily.
But the learning thing is just so interesting though, how it actually learns your guitar.
Yeah.
So like one of the things, you know a guitar after a while that the G string takes a little more of a tweak than the B string or whatever. The Roadie Tuner actually learns it. Do you want to hear it work?
Oh yeah. Sounds good, man.
It is, and that is a Roadie Tuner working at full degree. So, if you want to buy one of those Roadie Tuners because you heard us talk about them, you've seen the videos, you've gone to www.roadietuner.com, seen how good they are on the videos, and you're thinking, God damn, I want to buy one. Well, we have you covered. At checkout, there's a nice big option where it says promo code or something similar. It might say discount code. It says
I'm sure
enter.
they'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's like the internet. So at that point, type in H2WAT, how to, and you will get 10% off your first Roadie order. We've had a few messages from people who've already done that. They are very, very happy. And it's really cool as well. It's a complete demographic because it's both young and old. People who are like really old and really just so old they can't use technology anymore. Ancient people, hundreds of years old, have used the Roadie and they've loved it. And so have babies.
That's true.
That is the truth.
And to be honest, everyone that we've spoken to that's been like, I've gone and bought one, they all love it. No one's tuning their own guitars anymore. If you're still doing it, wake the fuck up.
Yeah, tuning your guitars is so like 2000s. So we don't have a schedule this week.
No.
That's good.
How to choose extra road. I can't like find the thing right now, so I'm just singing. Yeah, so that's the show. We've started. In case you didn't notice or you don't know or we didn't explain it clearly enough, we are the Brass Cats.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's talk about that.
So, hello, Jay. Introduce yourself.
So I'm now like third guitarist and backing singer.
Yeah,
But
I'm now better than Jay. That's how much guitar he's been playing recently.
But once upon a time, I was the lead guitarist of the Brass Cats, and Tony and I write the songs for it, and Tony is the wordsmith, melody maker, singing machine that is holding the Brass Cats together. The fibre which makes the Brass Cats poop is Tony, basically.
But yeah, I am quite fibrous. Well, I've always thought that.
So the Brass Cats, what do we play? What do we play?
We play reggae, ska, punk, funk. We were a punk band, right?
We were a
Let's go
full-on
back.
balls
Let's
to the
go
wall
back.
punk band.
Who
Yeah.
was- well, yeah.
Well, let's go back even further. Right, so we met, and I was listening to nothing but Zakk Wylde exclusively, basically. Oh, and Pantera.
Yeah. Basically, you know, a very, very small chunk of metal that you were really into. You were very
Yeah.
metal, but you didn't actually listen to that much metal.
No, I listen.
Especially not the screamy stuff.
No. I like sing songs. Yeah, exactly. I was only listening to that and like willy guitar, and that's the only kind of type of guitar I wanted to play. And then we met at a rock workshop at
Brooklands College.
Brooklands College.
We got
Thank
Brooklands.
you. God, I'm getting old. Man.
We
Shit.
none of the all of the Brass Cats went to Brooklands. None of us finished like the first year. I mean, I went to my exams the first year, but I was only
Did
there
you?
for about 3
How
months.
did you do?
EUX.
What were you trying to spell?
I got an E. Basically, that was that to put it.
Wait, is E your best?
My best grade.
Best grade from
at
Brooklands.
AS level, indeed. That's as high as my education went.
And yeah, out of the two of us, that makes you that
Better.
grade was the grade which makes you more.
That is at
more-
least a classified grade at
Yeah.
AS level.
Yeah.
I win.
More learned, significantly more learned than me. That's why you know things. So we met at Rock Workshop, which is like Wednesdays at 12 or some shit. I remember that because I used to come in specifically just to go to the Rock Workshop.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then leave again. But the thing is about Brooklands College is there's 2 pubs before you even get to the fucking gate.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
No, it's not fair.
That's not
And
fair.
One of them had loads of pool tables.
And a very lax underage drinking laws.
Yeah, exactly. Not gonna. Well, it's not there anymore, so buffers.
I
you know,
can
I'm sure they'll
only
go.
imagine the guy who was running that 15 years ago has been fired heavily.
And like solidly student pricing. Like, there's no way you're expecting adults to come into this bar because
No.
nothing cost enough.
That's
Like,
right.
It was all like solidly like, oh, you're only 15. That's fine. Don't worry, it's only £1 for a pint, mate. Like,
But what we did do is get really good at pool.
for a while.
Like sharks good.
It was good fun.
It was because that was the
It
education.
goes to show when you put your mind to something.
That's right. But occasionally we would take some time off playing pool and go to Rock Workshop. So yeah, we kind of met.
And actually, Rock Workshop had the classic problem with the original Brass Cats, right? Because so Ben, who was also at Brooklands with us, Ben, the drummer of originally the drummer of the Brass Cats.
Ben the drunk
You've
good
seen
fellow,
him
yeah,
sing. Probably you might have seen him play keys and guitar sometimes. And this was
Isn't he the one who sounds nice when singing on the Brass Cat records?
exactly. Whenever you hear something that sounds nice, that's Ben doing backing vocals behind me and Jay shouting.
Is it harmony? Harmony.
Harmony, I think it
Harmony.
is, yeah.
Yeah, he does the harmony.
But we had, even day one, we had the same problem with Ben, which is that he's the best drummer in the room. However, we also need him to do other stuff because we don't have a...
Well, he's also the best singer in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And probably the
that's
best guitarist.
Now, sure.
But it's great. I think, I'm just trying to think back. Probably, like, I remember playing Santana and Everlast. Put Your Lights On.
I remember that
Might have
tune,
been
yeah.
the first song that we ever played where Ben was playing the drums and I was singing.
Right.
And you were playing guitar.
I don't remember that.
Put your lights on. Gotta put your lights on.
Yeah, gotta put your lights on. That's a terrible
Leave
fucking
it under
song.
my bed. Wow! Santana's just wanking over at some quite poor tune.
And it's-
all in
oh,
all.
right,
And
is
I
that-
love,
is that-
and I love Everlast.
Yeah.
It's not
Is that one of the from the Santana
collaboration bit.
which had Smooth on it with Rob
Yeah,
Thomas
exactly.
and
Should we play it? Do you reckon Santana and Everlast will try and sue us if we play the song?
I don't, but if you're going to play it off that one, you can't play Everlast. You got to play, what was that?
Smooth was great, but we
Smooth
can't play
was good.
that
Bring it up. There was a track on that album which was like Mama or something. Senorita. She reminds me of a West Side Story. Is that not that?
I don't know.
And then it's Vanada.
Put your lights on.
Viva
Smooth.
San Carlos.
Maria?
Yeah,
Is that the one?
Which basically had the line Viva Carlos.
I'm wishing
Santana.
it was, but Eagle Eye Cherry was on that album. And Eric Clapton did a song on that album as well.
Shut up. What's that
It's
song
called
called?
The Calling. It's the last song on the album.
Well, you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's 8 minutes long. Not going to play that one. And Lauryn Hill. And CeeLo Green. Did not know CeeLo Green was even a person back then.
No, I didn't think. No, exactly. I didn't think they had built him yet.
He's a featuring person on that album.
What's his song called?
All My Time. And that Moose T's Club Mix.
No, it doesn't sound like
Moose
it.
T, Santana, Lauryn Hill, and CeeLo Green. That is a combo I never thought I'd see in a single song.
What was really cool about that album is that, like, my dad was like, Santana's the nuts. And I was like, who the fuck is Santana?
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck is Santana? But obviously, like, hugely respected.
Yeah, totally. And you can see why straight away.
Yeah.
He's probably not the best guitarist in the world, but he's got some swagger to it. You know, you can absolutely get behind that.
The thing Santana's got is just his sound.
Yeah.
Like, he's got his sound so nailed on. Like, he could play on any album, any fucking thing ever. You're gonna know it's him.
Yeah,
He's
totally.
just
Yes,
one- you know what I
absolutely.
mean?
Yeah. And any guitarist that can do that has won, I think.
Yeah.
To a degree. I mean,
I don't think I've
with
ever
the
found a sound.
exception of the Edge, because that's not like positive reasoning.
No, that's not acceptable.
yeah.
That's absolutely not acceptable.
Oh, that's the Edge. Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
The thing is with How to Write a Tune is I am happy to sit down with any musician, big or small. Like, I think everyone's got a story to
never
tell.
you two.
Except fucking you two. I'm not sitting down with fucking Bono or The Edge. Actually, Bono, I'll sit down with him. He's got cool glasses on.
Would be vaguely interesting. Not to talk about music too much, but
I wouldn't want to talk about music because they don't know about music.
simple as that. Like, anyone that thinks they do, I don't mean to.
I'm going to take a step
burst
back.
your
I'm going to take a
bubble
step
or
back
tell
because
you
they
that you're
do
wrong, or
have.
that your opinion is invalid.
But
you two suck.
they do. They got a couple of good songs, catchy melodies.
Occasionally, I find myself singing one occasionally. I also find myself singing other terrible songs occasionally.
Sure. I've never sung
Does not
any
mean it's
Kanye.
good.
I've never sung any
I haven't
Kanye.
listened to any to know what it sounds like.
Kanye
Except
or
for-
Kanye?
I thought it was
Kanye?
Kanye. No,
Kanye E.
I don't know.
Nah.
I think you're going
Yeah,
too far.
I think I went too deep.
You're just too funny. No one's gonna get it.
Grammatical pop humor.
So we can't really do the first band name thing because we've done that so many times. We talk about that on every episode, our first band
sure.
as well. So screw that. We'll get around to that on the Brass Cats episode with the other Muppets.
I'm excited about that episode. I forgotten so much over the years that it'll be nice to find out what happened.
Exactly.
And everyone joined the band. But anyway, yeah. So we basically got together after that rock workshop. And blah
Education.
blah. Started, yeah.
We all played
exactly.
a lot of Tony Hawks for
Yes.
a couple of years.
But that's when I started
forming the
hanging out
bond.
with you guys.
But the beautiful thing about Tony Hawks, usually only one player is ever playing at once. So everyone else needs to do something while they're fucking waiting for that guy.
Like maybe some guitar.
Like maybe some guitar and singing.
Sure.
Which is,
But I remember distinctly, so much later, but I remember distinctly you saying, we're going to write a punk album.
yeah.
And we're called the Brass Cats.
Yeah. People were already calling us the Brass Cats at that
People
point.
already called us the Brass Cats, okay, but not as a band.
Not as a band, just
No.
our group of friends.
Just as an insult.
Yeah, and I was like, I think we should own that.
Yeah, because we were brass.
Yeah.
We didn't have any money.
I got no money and I want some weed. Is the theme that I like to put to the why we're called the Brass Cats. However incorrect it may be.
However incorrect it may be.
People that named us, that was their opinion.
Yeah. But we
should
owned
get
it.
Wilson at some point. But I think it was Wilson that came up with it.
Is it really?
I believe so. We should
Cool.
get Wilson at some point and talk to him about the origins of the Brass Cats.
Could be a great podcast. Could be really
Or
short.
we could call him.
We could call him.
But anyway.
That's true. We could send him email, Tony. We could send him a text.
So at this point, though, we had like the first couple of tunes we put together were pretty funny because it was like something that I'd written that was terrible that became funkin' eventually.
That's right. Yeah.
And then there was something, and then we were kind of brutalizing some tunes that you'd been playing with Phil and Bailey. So
Blackjack McBain, yeah.
Yeah, so which is Phil from Sing Kings now, who's been on the podcast.
Deer, who's been on the
and
podcast.
Bailey, who you guys used to play with. Yeah, we was pretty much like not stealing songs, but playing some of their songs differently to try and figure out what the fuck we were doing.
Well, I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, you know, when you're in your teens and stuff, that's when you're uber creative.
Yeah.
Like, that is when you're uber
but
creative.
also uber accidental steely.
Well, no. So that's what I've been thinking, right?
Deliberate steely.
Yeah, because like the great musicians, it isn't just their teens when they're creative forever. But for me, that was kind of it. Like, you know, that was the apex. That was the real.
Some of your best riffs.
Some of my best riffs, and like I was really prolific then. I could just write. Not so much anymore.
Say that you wrote the riff for Cup Stroke Poke.
I did.
That was only like 5 years ago.
Not too long ago.
Yeah, and I think that was quite.
It wasn't. It was like 2013.
That's when
like
the
3 years
album
ago.
came out.
Yeah, and
we've been playing it for 2 years. It was just the newest song on the album. It wasn't like just written this song.
All right. Anyway, but yeah, we had a bunch of, and it's the same sort of time as Tenacious D came out.
Oh yeah, greatest album.
That is Tenacious D, right?
It is Tenacious D.
No fucking around. I like their style. And we played a few of those covers. People loved it, and we played a load of funny songs. So you said funking earlier. What was funking originally called?
It was called Just Another Song About Wanking.
It's a clever song.
It was my one of my early attempts at being funny before I'd quite realised where the line is between like funny and like just so wrong people don't find it funny.
Which I feel I've been instrumental in helping you out.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Like I'd be if I was just a solo singer-songwriter at this point, I'd be in a weird place. I think
we'd be fucking arrested, inciting riots for some of the shit you want to say. Constantly, Tony's like, right, so this song's going to be called, and I'm like, no. That can be one throwaway line at best, but you can't.
I want it to be the title. That's the best line of the song. That's why it should be the title.
we had Get Down.
Get Down on Your Knees.
Yeah, song about blowjobs.
Cool. That, if it wasn't the same tune as Super Ho, basically.
Well, it became Super Ho.
It became Super Ho.
But
the original is one of my favourite songs of ours, and we never play it. We should drop that into Super Ho.
It's quite the rip-off of Eagle-Eyed Cherry's Save Tonight. When I say quite the rip-off, it's the same chords.
Yeah, but it's funnier.
It's significantly funnier. I'll go as far to say I don't think Eagle-Eyed Cherry's Save Tonight is funny.
Next time we play, we're going to play
Said it.
Get Down on Your Knees instead of the middle eight for Super Ho. It's going to be good.
Or you could just change the lyrics.
Yeah, that's true.
Sing
it's a great song. I wish. So yeah, and that is on our first album.
What was our first album called? What?
The Extravaganza of Musical Excellence at El Rancho, featuring Ben, Jay, and Tony. Ben even got his name first on that because he was the one doing most of the decent work.
Because it was clear he was the best.
Even though he turned up for 2 days, at the end, after we've been trying to work with a Spanish drummer.
So hang on. So El Rancho.
That's later though. We should.
Are we the Brass Cats?
Oh yeah,
we are.
Yeah.
Have we played gigs?
Not hugely.
I don't think so because we didn't have a bass player.
Not like gigs. No. We played acoustically sometimes. Okay. Like we'd played like quite a few house parties where like I think we'd played like Ben was playing keys and we were just playing you playing guitar and Ben playing keys and we were all singing. Do you remember that kind of thing?
No.
No, exactly. I barely do. I have memories of like flash. Like,
but there was some
freeze frame memories.
Yes, I've seen the pictures.
yeah.
I just don't remember them. But some fundamentals of like how we play and kind of the ethos of the band were built then.
Yeah,
like booze.
Boozy.
Let's fucking talk about booze.
Doesn't need to be good as long as you engage the crowd and they're having a good time.
That's right.
Like all of that stuff we learned before we had decent material.
That's true.
You had to do that.
You don't even have to entertain the crowd if you get drunk enough.
Exactly. That is in itself entertaining.
This is it. As time gone on, we've tried to entertain more.
However, as proven on our album launch party, there is an upper echelon to that, at which I am no longer entertaining because I am totally incapable of singing proper words or anything. Like that was one of my favorite gigs ever. I have no memory of it, and I've seen some of the videos, and wow. I mean, apparently I'm singing the lyrics. Apparently.
You were absolutely bombed, but you weren't that drunk until about 2 to 3 minutes before we went on, and then you finished a Brass Cat special mostly on your own. And the Brass Cat special was 24 Jägermeisters. With or without Red Bull, your fucking choice.
Sometimes
I'm equal opportunity Red Bull.
Like.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm sure you drank 8 or 9. Man, the coffee machine's really going for it today, huh?
So just my coffee's getting chilly.
Yeah, so just in case any of you think someone's just been hitting a bong for the last 20 minutes. That is our coffee machine, Derek, working very.
Derek. It's a good name. We have two though, but the other one needs a name. If you're gonna name one, you got to name the other.
The other one's an espresso, so it should be something fancy.
Like
Quan Sailor. Quan Sailor. What's the name of
you need help. Well, Derek and
Clive.
Jeffrey.
Derek and Clive. Well, Derek and Clive was something that Dudley Moore and
This rings a bell, yeah.
the other guy, not Peter Sellers, the guy he used to work with, can't remember, but they released a spoken word album, essentially the first British podcast, and it's just a spoken word comedy album.
Yeah, we used to listen to that in Barcelona.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Like, it was made 50, 60 years ago, something now, probably 50 years ago now. And it's just the worst language you can think of. It's worse than we say now when we're being disgusting. It's a hell of an album. It's a really good album. So yeah, okay, Coffee Machines, Derek and Clive. What the fuck were we talking about before Coffee Machines?
So yeah, the band formed. We didn't play any gigs. We got really high for ages.
It was good times.
Had good fun. We bonded hard. And then I moved to Barcelona.
That's it.
Band did not end.
Okay, yeah. And then
we can leave the country, and this band does not fit. This is the beauty of this band. It's a family. We're like best friends since we were kids. Even the newer additions, the younger guys, they're just, well, you're in now. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
you can't get out. You're like, we'll kill you.
Okay, you take it deeper than me.
I've been watching a lot of Sons of Anarchy recently.
You got unpatched or whatever. Depatched.
But yeah, so, and then you moved out to Barcelona at a certain point.
Yeah.
And before we recorded the album,
Yeah.
we recorded, I'm trying to remember what the song was, but it was something live at Plaza de Barceloneta. And it was...
Wayward Rizzler.
No, it wasn't. That was way before. We hadn't written. It was Got the Fit.
It was Got the Fit, but I'm sure Wayward Rizzler was on
That was
as
around.
well.
We were coming in that time, but like this is we didn't actually. Well, we probably did play this song on the square at some point, but
That was our reasoning.
But not when there was actually a crowd.
And we put fake claps on.
And we put fake claps on. We had like, and this is we got this little flat in Barcelona behind the pub.
No. Little flat doesn't fucking explain it. So you came through the front door, and then on the left there was a cupboard, which was also
That is the shower/toilet, my friend, not a cupboard.
a tiled cupboard with a shitter in it, and a window which went out. So like you had a little window in the
Out into the stairway.
Yeah, which could be opened from the stairway.
For ventilation.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you
Creepy.
could be having a shower, and if someone wanted to, they could just open that up and have a little look, or a poop. You could see when you're pooping. So that was there. Then there was a decent-sized kitchen. Then there was a small room which someone had cut into two. And that was both the front room and a bedroom.
And the bedroom is essentially in the center of the flat in the building, so there's no windows in the bedroom.
Yeah.
It's just a dark room in the middle of the building.
So hot.
It
as
is
well.
weird. Like, people didn't go in there much. I don't think I ever slept in there. I know you stayed in there for a bit.
did.
And Miles did during the bad times. But, it was a bad place. But then there's the little living room that was...
But right, so the little living room was made even smaller, because what year was this? Like 2000? 2001?
2003.
Okay, so it's like 2003. So you've always been into having as
All
many
of the
screens.
computers.
Yeah, loads of computers and as many screens as possible. But we're talking about when screens were like foot deep. So there were TVs. They weren't screens then, were they? They were just TVs. You just have loads of
Yeah, we did
TVs.
have a couple of like early day flat screens because we'd lived on the boat just before that.
Right.
So I did have a flat screen because you can't have a big TV on a boat.
No.
There just ain't room for that. You got to go and buy a flat screen. It doesn't matter how much they cost. You need a flat screen if you want a TV on a boat. Sorry.
There we go. Said it. You said any flat screen manufacturers out there, we got a new marketing campaign.
I nearly moved into the industry of fitting flat screen TVs into boats.
Really?
Yeah. The guy that I went into business with was a bit of a douchebag though.
Sure.
Julian, you know who you are. He's good guy though. Good guy though. Just not a good business partner.
Gotcha.
Happens. So yeah, we were in Barcelona, and then we went to this Hell's Angel ranch because
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we recorded some songs.
So
we
we were
recorded
friend
live
Ben.
at
Benny King.
Plaza de Badalona.
Big up Benny King.
Oh yeah,
That's
our
how that
spiritual
all came
manager.
together. Obviously, like he was
Now
asked.
that was just the best recording I've ever done. Like, I've always enjoyed recording, but that.
And
was
we're
the
not
most
talking
fun.
about recording quality.
No, or songs.
No, but experience.
Yeah, and some good songs are written there.
We didn't have really any finished songs to put on
We
the
did
album
not.
when we arrived. We
But
wrote
me and
everything
Ben,
on site.
while you'd been in Spain, me and Ben had smashed out like a load of acoustic covery shit. Essentially, we played a lot of Dave Matthews.
That was fun. We've
and-
all on the Watchtower a million times.
Yeah,
to
and
then
yeah.
never really nail it.
No.
We still don't have like a nailed version of that.
Which is good because it's a cover. It's
a fucking
slow
long
cover.
song as well.
It's a slow,
I-
slow cover, which I imagine's amazing live if you're watching Dave Matthews. But
I wasn't really into that song too much before we started recording that, and then about halfway through, I'm like, this is a pretty good song, and then by the end, I hated it. So I went through the whole thing in about 6 hours.
but we, God, I don't just remember this. We didn't have songs. We
wrote "We'd Succeed" on the sofa in El Rancho.
I thought we went up to Inspiration Point,
Oh, that was Chumbuglin.
Chumbuglin.
That was the next morning after we were already Succeed the night before. We sat on the little. They had a little. So basically, El Rancho is a Dutch Hell's Angel ranch.
Dutch
in Spain.
owned Hell's Angel Ranch in Spain. Yeah,
Big up to
Robbie,
the man,
yeah.
and his lovely wife, whose name, after all these years, finally evades me.
But she's lovely.
She's fucking awesome.
A lovely wife.
And
of
Nikki
Robbie.
and Ben. So Ben was our mate. He was like seeing their daughter. So we basically met these guys, hooked up, and you got a recording studio, but we don't have an engineer, so we don't really know what to do with it. And I was like, wow, I could be an engineer.
Yeah, I know
That
computers.
seems like something I might be able to understand how to do if I
Jesus,
was
yeah,
allowed to
because
play with it for a while. I went up there for like 2 weeks beforehand just to play with the studio and figure out how it worked, because they had no idea. They were like, there's just some stuff in there. It works. We've seen it work.
And there, and
I don't know how it works.
but studio, what they had was a big stage which
Outside.
they'd use when the Hells
Outside
Angels
stage.
were there, when it was like on season,
Yeah.
outside stage, and they'd all get boozy and listen to music. But for some reason, there was a little booth chopped off, which could fit like quite a few people, 7 or 8 people in there.
Yeah, it was and it was the recording booth, or the side. There was a little recording vocal booth, and then the stage that had the kind of drums. You had standard stage set up. And then like little recording.
And then
room
to
on the
make
side.
it a full-on recording studio, because it's not just an open stage, there was
Curtain.
2 big old blue tarps.
Oh, tarps, yeah, they weren't even curtains. Were they?
And you pulled that bitch along, making a nice soundproof.
Contained sound. Which is why we got such quality recordings out of this album, as well as the fact that we had a quality, experienced engineer.
So we had you who had learned the studio to use the
And
studio 2 weeks
To
beforehand.
to people who record music these days, we're not talking about a digital. It was a digital machine, but it was one of the earliest versions of a digital recording.
It was
system.
digital in as much as it wasn't analog.
So it was.
But that is as digital
It
as
did
it got.
have writable CDs. It ran on writable
Ooh.
CDs. Or you could export to a writable CD at
Holy
the end
shit.
of having mixed your live project on the. It was a Tascam, I think.
Tascam 8-track.
And it was.
And it's like, but you can bounce down.
Right, today, if you had no idea what you're doing and someone gives you a studio that's plugged in, it's not that hard to figure it out. This is a different fucking thing. I had the manual out. I read the whole thing.
Really?
Like, you didn't have. It wasn't on the internet either. Like, it's 2004. There is internet. There isn't internet with information on it.
Sure, not
Like,
to the point where you can just be like Tascam 8350.
Here's the manual.
Enter,
Bosh.
how do I turn
Tascam
this
hadn't
on?
realised the internet existed yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, the internet is a fucking very different thing then as well. Very, very different thing.
But we got through it. We got some recordings.
We did, but like some of the funnest times as well.
Yeah.
Like some of the fucking funnest times. Like it was Robbie coming up mid me trying to play the most technical thing I'd ever written. And sitting there and doing like take 15 or something like that. And obviously he's having to listen to this. But literally poking his head through said tarp and being like, stop. And we were like, what? What's happened? Were we playing too loud? What's wrong? He's like, back in 1974 when I was playing with Keith Richards, he says we only need 3 chords. Thumbs up, walked out. Was like, thanks, Robbie.
And we took that to heart.
Useful information. Yeah, later on, actually, subconsciously, that got very involved because we never played a riff again. But that was also great. We drank so much. We got
It was
tattoos.
Yeah.
We,
So let's think about that. So this place used to be a farmhouse. So there was stables, but they weren't stables anymore. They were bedrooms.
Yeah.
Weird little 2 bunk beds in each stable, still with stable doors.
Yeah, the outside was
You were
was
basically
there.
outside.
Yeah. Anything could
And
walk
then one of
into
them
your
was a
room.
tattoo parlor because they were Hells Angels, and so
Clean.
obviously they were tattooists because It's one of the things you do. I think if you're a biker, you become a tattooist.
One-
Right? Well,
yeah,
someone has
someone
to.
does,
One
yeah.
of us has got to be a tattooist, and one of the young people has to be their apprentice. There's always, and that's where Benny came in. Benny was their like tattooist apprentice. He'd done
Gotcha.
like 20 tats at this point, and we were
I remember.
us!
No, so yours was mine was 26 and yours was 27
and 28.
and 28 because you
The
got
big
two.
light switch.
The old huge light switch. But
Only the ladies will know what that means.
so we literally in some fucking stable with outside listening to St. Anger.
You were listening to something.
Fuck
When
you.
I got my tat, he put Alicia Keys on, and then suddenly, other than the fact we're pissed and pouring with blood, like my blood is
So
so thin,
pissed.
it's buckets coming out.
Pissed. So because El Rancho was like a bar, where it were on season, like off season, it was just their house with this massive bar in it. So they just were like, we'll keep the bar stocked, and what you drink, like mark down.
Mark it down on the tab.
Just mark it down on tab.
Done.
And we were like, sure, that sounds perfectly reasonable.
And let me put it this way: at the end, when we left, and I was settling up with them, and I had an extremely good rate for the recording. Extremely good rate. We were there for a long time. Very good rate.
We got tattoos.
We got
for free.
Yeah, and they were basically like, well, this is how much we agreed to go for the recording in the first place, whatever. Like,
And how much?
And this is
Ballpark,
your
$2,000?
this is your bar tab. Can you just pay for one of them? I was like, I think it was about 1,500 euros.
So like,
2,000
hang on.
euros.
So they were like 1,500 quid for the recording.
Yeah.
But
And
you've also
your
drunk.
bar tab's almost $2,000. So can you just pay one of them, and then it's cool. Like, it's fine. Like, so essentially, we didn't pay for the recording. We just paid our bar tab.
Because we drank so much.
Oh, it was unreal. They had to. I mean, without it being incriminating in any way, aside from beer, they had to harvest some things because we
Twice.
we smoked everything that they had.
Twice. I remember them going,
that's
what? And
strange
having to
tobacco.
run back and chop down a fucking thing.
Yeah, and it's like, what? Well, we can't smoke that
But also,
for
they
days, weeks.
they were also like, with the drinking, they were just like, you've drunk it all. We were like, yeah, it's fucking one. Like, we've been drinking all
And we're
day.
talking bin like massive black bins full of bottles of Australia. To
In
the point
3
where we're like,
days.
what the hell?
In 3
How
days,
can-
we
How
filled
can
3
three
of them.
20-year-old kids drink this much?
Yeah, because we're fucking animals, that's why.
And we had Benny King and his crew. So the other drummer, before Ben turned
mate,
up, we
Dave.
had Aaron, Dave Mark 1.
Dave Mark 1.
So all of our superfluous drummers are called Dave, and all of our superfluous bass players are called Frank. What our actual first bass player was called Frank.
Yeah.
This first drummer was not called Dave. His name
But
was
I-
Aaron, but with a Spanish.
Aaron.
I think, it's that Spanish version of Aaron. I never quite figured out how to say it. Big up that man though.
He was good.
He wasn't good
singing.
at drumming necessarily. He was that backing vocals he did on Blues Baby. Do I have Blues Baby? I'd love to play Blues Baby. I'm gonna have a little look at that. But he is an unreal. Yeah, he didn't know what he was singing though. We were like, we need you to sing at El Rancho, and he's like, what does that mean? This is
Nothing.
At El Rancho.
Nothing. No, there's a blues baby at El Rancho as well. There's a blues baby at El Rancho. But he got Rancho.
He's good at
every time.
Rancho, yeah. That made that song as well. That's the bit on that song that I love now. Like, yeah. But his drumming was, he was. None of us were good, but to keep playing drums, you got to be able to kind of play in time.
Yeah.
Especially if you're playing to a click, it's difficult. He didn't really do that very well.
Which we knew was important. so
Yeah, and as it turned out, when we tried to re-record this song later, it's not like the most solid to a click song from your point of view, Jay.
Fuck you, man.
By which I mean you can't really play it properly.
And it's the simplest 12-bar blues. It's just the simplest 12-bar blues in E.
Some things are just beyond you, man. What can I say?
What are you gonna do?
So we got that done.
Yeah.
I think we came out with like 6-8 tunes and like some videos. We did some. You remember somewhere?
flew
it was
out.
a live DVD.
Fucking-
Me and Rupert sat in my flat in Barcelona for
Yeah.
like a month after that, editing the sound. I was doing the sound and he was editing the video. Do you remember the videos? I've watched them a few times. I think there's still a DVD in the house. I might put them up on YouTube.
Just cringy as fuck.
Oh, it's terrible.
Cringy as
Terrific,
fuck.
but
Well,
it's great. I'm not in any of the songs that we did. I think I sing
once.
Ugh. But I was big on being. I was very behind stage doing a lot of stuff during that whole thing. So, but It was great fun.
Yeah.
Like,
Good album.
great album.
Great fun though. Like it was just really, really good fun. Like Benny King became our spiritual manager.
EU.
Yeah.
We did
EU.
eventually appoint a UK one because Benny wasn't here. He now lives in the UK.
He doesn't.
He doesn't.
He's moved to the US.
He's moved to the US. So he's now our spiritual manager US. Well, North America.
And a spiritual manager basically is sort of like awesome drinks butler. So every time you're running a little bit low, but they got to be heavy metal, man. They got to be cool. They got to be like, yeah.
It's got to be a guy you can deal with just being around all the time.
Yeah,
and he's not gonna get
not gonna get too drunk, but will be a little drunker than you.
Always on the level. Always. But,
You need someone who might make you down your drink around.
Spontaneously
when recording. Yeah, exactly. But like you say, someone that you don't want to kill. I think spiritual manager is something that was maybe lacking on our last recording. We got to make sure we appoint a.
So true. We took Rupert with us the previous time, and like he
post rehab Rupert.
Yeah, that was it. We took it because
rehab.
And that was great. We took him with us. Yeah, that was amazing. That was really good fun.
Rehab. And on the first night we got there, and there was like 15 minutes left of fucking happy hour.
Oh god, I remember.
So we all bought doubles, but we're like, you've just got out of rehab, so you can't have any drinks. And by the way, it wasn't like a necessary rehab. It was I'm gonna go and chill out in a spa for a little bit kind of rehab.
Yeah.
But with it, I was like, no, you can't have any drinks. So I bought like 4 large double jacks. I went to take a piss, and he nailed 3 of them. And the thing I'm most annoyed about is like, nail 2. There's 4 of them.
Yeah.
Leave 2 for me. Don't be an animal, you know.
Make the point.
Make the fucking point. I'm lucky I had a 4th one, really.
Exactly, right?
Have we always been drunk for our recordings?
I don't remember. Probably then.
Yeah. Shit.
Well, I don't know. How drunk were we for the album for the Return of the Brass Cats?
Not so drunk
because we're old now. We realised that we can't drink that much and
actually
perform.
We were mostly hungover.
Yeah, that's more like it.
Because we drink at night. That's a mistake. I feel that's a mistake.
Yeah, I think so.
Next time
it's way too on point.
And next time as well, I'd like
right.
to be like the last person in the recording process.
Fine.
I'd like it all done, and then I'd like to turn up sloppy drunk and just kind of do whatever over the top of it.
Yeah, that's good.
Na 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 widdly 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 widdly.
Yeah, that's fine. You just got to practice lots because
Oh.
you don't really deserve that, right?
That's true. That's true.
You got to write the songs. It's all we're good for these days. So yeah, and then so we got back and we met the boys from Roscoe Presolana, who we should have on. Next time Seth's back, we should do a Roscoe Presolana episode.
Oh hell yeah!
Because that would be funny.
That sounds great.
Great.
God, even if it's just Seth.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And he's in a new band now out in wherever the hell he is.
Seth started a band.
Well, it's him and 2 other hippies that all play acoustic guitar.
Seth plays acoustic guitar.
So it's like 3 singer-songwriters. I don't know if they all play on stage together at the same time. I think it's funny looking at them and knowing Seth. I think it's like got to be quite entertaining if it's not great. I mean, I've never seen Seth play guitar that I can think of. But he's been out there a while. He's been a hippie for a while now. You know, hippies spend lots of time doing fuck all. So I'm sure he's played lots of guitar.
That's what you did.
Exactly.
When you lived on a beach, you got really good.
Yeah, really good. It's a bit of a.
You got much better.
Much better.
Much better. Yeah. Well, like we kind of turn the whole story here, but that's sort of the Brass Cats. Kind of
yeah,
the
we
Brass
won't
Cats
go too much further than that because that'll be when that's when Tommy arrives and shit like that.
Yeah, so in a couple of episodes' time, when we have the boys on, we'll
pretty much pick up from there.
Yeah. Nice.
But we do have a new band. We haven't practiced yet.
Okay, Tony's putting this fucking band together.
I've got a plan. I've got an idea, right? Basically, so we talk. Me and Jay have always been frontmen.
Ooh, yeah.
And always been the shoddiest people in the band, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, we make sure we're surrounded by people that know what they're doing so that we don't look like
It's a wonderful safety net.
It really works. I got, from lots of experience, it works a lot.
Yeah.
So this time, we're going to start a new band where Jay plays the drums and I play the bass. We're going to be the rhythm section. And if any of you have ever heard us play without a rhythm section, you will know that it's time for this. Like, the people have wanted this for a long time. There's been petitions. So we're recruiting people that are particularly bad at their instruments, though.
Or want to play a different instrument
To
to
what
the
they
instrument
play.
they play.
So that
Or
we
don't
can be,
play an
we want to
instrument.
be the solid part of this band.
Yeah.
It's a band that where we're the like driving force keeping it all together, and there are just people falling all around us.
Yeah,
I think I can't wait.
I want like a Cletus style singer.
And my suggestion for the name at the moment is Jacking Off Dad. And I think it's great. Like I want to not like it. I've got to the point where it's like, okay, how funny is that? Is it funny enough to be usable?
It's hilarious.
I think it's great. I think if you see that on a flyer, you're like, I want to see that band. Like Arse Full of Chips. Like, like,
Who were Arse Full of Chips?
they're a like hardcore punk band. They were meant, so when we were recording the Return of the Brass Cats, the debut album,
Great album.
they were meant to be great album. They were meant to be playing next door the night we got there.
In the place across from the strip club.
No, next door in the pub that we drank at.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's next, across from the strip club, exactly. And they were meant to be playing there, and obviously they're like a typical hardcore punk band, so they literally, I think they booked a gig and just didn't turn up.
Nice.
And we were almost like, well, we are here and next door, and we could play, and then we were like,
Have
let's get
everything.
hammered.
Okay,
We
so
have everything, but it's set up in the studio next door for recording, and I really can't be bothered to move it.
whole mindset.
It's a whole
thing.
thing.
as well.
Like, yeah. So we didn't do that.
That's a good idea, though. I think that's actually a good idea. We should set up a gig during recording time.
I think
next time.
we had that conversation.
Oh, is this not a new idea?
No, at that time we were like, if we'd pre-booked this, we'd totally done this. But like, Ben's not going to be here till like we at no point were we all there, so it was a bit of a like
That's a
we're
fair
going to have
point.
to cobble something together.
That's a fair point.
But how did we get to that? I don't know.
Arse Full of Chips.
Arse Full of Chips. Yeah, they're a great band. I think Millie Mander's got me onto them originally. Gotta go and listen to them. But like I say, Jacking Off Dad, it's got that same kind of, well, that's offensive, but I kind of want to know what that means.
It also sounds like Californian punk as well. I don't, you know what I mean? Like it sounds like that sort of.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to play. We haven't had a practice yet. I don't know what style of music
Yeah,
we're
what
going to
style
play.
do you want to play?
Like, kind of,
Rock.
like,
Happy music.
it's got to be quite heavy because there's a potential for Schmo and Betley to be the front man, and we'll have Schmo on a podcast in the future, I'm sure. He was a very good drummer from an awesome band called Drop Bear, and we should probably just have the whole of Drop Bear on at some point. But I feel like Owen can have his own episode because he is just an absolute G.
If he ends up being the lead singer, it'll be like Aerosmith in the 70s.
It'll be like the Sex Pistols, but he's not playing the bass. Like he is on that level. He's a Johnny Rotten, Sid Vicious. He could be that guy. I believe in him. And I'm a bad enough bass player to be Sid Vicious, to be fair.
I reckon I'm going to be a pretty good drummer.
I've seen you play drums. You think you're pretty good.
I do. Much like when I play guitar.
Yeah, and it's all about attitude. We all know that.
Yeah.
Like,
and a click, apparently.
Probably not in your case. But yeah, so that's the future. Watch out for that. We'll definitely tell you if and when we play a gig because that would just be too funny.
Yeah.
I don't even think we necessarily need a guitarist. Shmoan could probably do that as well. 3-piece.
Jesus.
That'd be terrible, right?
Or you could do it in a bunch of pedals.
Ooh, well, get a double neck.
Play guitar. But
And
like,
yeah, bass effects
pedal
pedal. That
effects
maybe let's
pedal
try
thing.
that. The twofer. The
just
old
two
twofer.
and we'll both sing.
Yeah. That could be interesting. Anyway, Jacking Off Dad.
Yeah, watch this space. I got nothing about jacking off, Dad.
So, in other news,
Ooh,
I'm finally going to release Bones Nose soon.
tell me more.
You could almost say that this is the inaugural episode for Bones Nose because this is kind of what Bones Nose will be like in some weeks.
Well, explain.
So,
explain.
Bones Nose is a new podcast where I don't have to talk to musicians about how they write songs.
Or me.
Or you necessarily,
Yep.
yes. However, I'm sure Jay will be on plenty of the time. Like, for instance, some
Thanks,
episodes will just be like this. It'll just be like, me and Jay, we're bored, we're going to do a podcast.
Yeah.
And then other episodes, I'll do like a biography. I'm going to do a biography of William Shatner, as an example. That's an
Fuck off.
up and coming.
I've read William Shatner's
You'll
autobiography.
be on that episode as one of my guests.
I should come on as an expert. 'Cause
Yeah.
I've genuinely read
Exactly.
his autobiography. It's fantastic. It starts off with him. I can't make this shit up. It starts off with him like a boy, a canoe, the New York River. he's tired.
That's got to be an audiobook, right? That he reads.
Oh God,
I want that. I'm going to listen to that.
I hope so. So before William Shatner was fucking Will Shatner, just when he was good old young Bill, he canoed from Canada down into New York.
Wow. At what age?
Like 12.
Nice.
Like fucking 12 or 14 or
It's
something.
Kirk. Of course he did.
Of course he
Denny
did.
fucking Crane.
I'm surprised he needed a canoe.
Like,
Maybe he didn't have a horse.
he's played two of the most iconic characters
Denny Crane.
ever. Like, and if you don't know who Denny Crane is,
Go fuck
go
yourself.
find out.
Go fuck yourself.
Because Kirk ain't nothing on Denny Crane.
Yeah. If they would just let William Shatner play Kirk like Denny Crane, but in like the Star Wars universe, so he's like Admiral Kirk.
Star Trek.
Exactly.
Modern.
Sacrilege.
So
yeah.
What? Start a new timeline.
So he was.
Well, no, later. So later down this timeline,
Yeah.
he comes back as old Kirk. Like it.
Yes.
Oh, I like
Admiral
it a lot.
Kirk,
I like it a lot. But he's
just
Denny Crane.
Crane.
That is it.
Drunks.
And Alan Shaw's also there.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
He's
Spader.
not,
Spader. We need Spader to have
not
a
an
role.
admiral. He'd be like first mate on a ship, but just doesn't go onto the ship
Yeah, gets away with everything because Denny Crane is.
because he knows Kirk.
Yeah. Ah, that is good. Or
Or
Spader as Spock.
Spader's Spock.
Wow.
He could do
My
that.
mind just exploded. He could. He'd
play that.
look. He actually give him. He needs like a wig. But otherwise,
Yeah, he
he's pretty
doesn't.
Spocky. Like,
Did Leonard Nimoy wear his hair like that for the show, or
was that
afterwards?
was that his hair?
Because afterwards he seemed like, you know, when he would show up in an old episode of fucking
Fringe or something.
yeah, and he still had the old Spock fringe. I never saw him without it. Although he did also direct one of my favourite two movies or sequel of movies.
What?
3 Men and a Baby and 3 Men and a Little Lady.
Did he now?
I know, it's a Leonard Nimoy.
Also, he was also the voice of Unicron.
That's right, and also the narrator of our favourite game. My favourite game.
Which is...
Buck in Civilization.
Oh, of course, yes. What am I thinking? Of course. Yeah, I mean, then it was a G. Big up. So, that'll be a whole episode on William Shatner at some point.
Yeah, so Bones Nose is going to be what? So Bones Nose is going to be you
Doing whatever
dropping
I
some
want to do.
fucking knowledge.
There'll be monologues. Occasionally.
A
Monologue.
monologue.
Yes, a monologue. To steal something from Will Ferrell. There'll be monologues, there'll be bio episodes, there'll be just us chatting shit sometimes. I basically just want to do a podcast where I don't have to adhere to any standards.
Yeah.
But
But also you were saying, like, you know, interesting subjects. Who's the guy who did all the stuff and invented cheese?
his name is... You got to call me.
Bernays.
Bernays.
Bernays. He
it's
didn't invent
not
cheese,
Bernays.
he invented the sauce.
It is Bernays, yeah. He, the guy, the
Hollandaise. No, Bernays.
I think it
That
is
was
right.
right.
The godfather of marketing and advertising.
Yeah.
He was Freud's nephew.
He didn't invent cheese, did he?
If it is, I don't want to say it is Bernays, even though I've got a whole slew of notes on the episode I was going to do on this. I can't remember the guy's name. It does sound about right, though.
Yeah, but you find really interesting people, always have. Like, you've always been like, have you fucking heard of this fucking
Not just
dude?
that,
Like,
I tell people stories about stuff like that, and I haven't done all of the research to make sure I'm always telling the truth. When I do the podcast on them, I will at least do the research to be like, so this is what these people think, rather than just tell you things that are facts that aren't always necessarily facts. They usually are, but I don't know that. You know, it's just the internet. You fucking they're saying it
because it's about what Bones knows.
exactly, or what I don't know mostly.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it still feels wrongly about.
Yeah, and then I've got some like local MMA fighters that I like to come on. We can talk about UFC and talk about MMA in general, and just talk about. So I'm gonna go all over the place with it. It's gonna be
cool.
like a Rogan kind of thing, except sometimes I'll go totally Radio Lab and edit the fuck out of the things and make nice sounds and stuff.
Yeah.
I want to play with some ideas, and yeah,
You know what a lot of this comes from, though, is Tony and I started this podcast. Well, it's been going 47 weeks,
so we're getting towards the year.
getting towards the year, but we've been doing it for probably a year.
Yeah, more than that because we had a bunch of episodes recorded before we started.
Episodes when
Yeah.
we started.
We did the Frank Turner interview before we even dropped the first episode. How we did that, no one will ever know, including me.
Little something I like to call luck and a phone call.
Jay's an awesome salesman.
And I was lucky and I made a phone call. And
story of your sales career.
And Tim OT's awesome. Big up.
Yeah, that too.
But yeah, so we've been doing this podcast, and it, let's be honest, changed our lives.
Yeah, we're now. We don't work. We work in the podcast sphere now.
Yeah, we're professional podcasters.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
I spent a lot of my time editing other people's podcasts.
I spent a lot of time watching him edit podcasts.
We've absolutely I used to work in the games industry. That's done. No more of that.
Yeah, I used to work in IT. Fuck that up its ass.
Yeah, and it's not like it's great. Like, thank you guys at the end of the day, because it's been. But
it's just such a cool thing. It's just such I'm so glad that some people have tuned in, that you guys listen to the podcast, and like we get all these listeners every week and all that kind of thing. It's amazing. But the whole kind of point was for us to do this kind of like, I want to hang out with my mate more.
Exactly, and have a reason to.
Yeah,
and also document conversations. I had this burning like problem that was like I'm not a great rememberer.
You're not.
My memoring's not that great, you see. So I constantly had this thing of like, do you remember when we did that? I wish that had been a podcast, because that was a great day, great conversation, great people, and now we have the facilities and the know-how and the infrastructure to do that basically whenever we want. And yeah, so we're going to start some new podcasts that give us the opportunity to kind of branch out a little bit. That doesn't mean How to Write a Tune won't be here, because that is the bread and butter of society. We can't have the world crumbling around us.
The bread and butter of society.
That might be the new album name.
I'll leave you for 1 minute to top up some coffee. I come back to the bread and butter of society. But what's awesome as well is now we work with so many people with like working with their podcasts. Is there's such a breadth. There's so many different types of podcasts out there. Like, it's opened my mind to just like what it can be, and it can be fucking anything. And like, it made sense to have How to Write a Tune be so formulaic when it started, but now it doesn't need to be. It can be anything it is. And Bones knows I'm looking forward to of just being this like scattershot of podcast awesomeness, and sit down and have fucking conversation with people. And God knows, if you guys are still out there listening, we're going to still drop these. And if you're not listening, we're still going to do them and drop them.
Exactly, because it's just fun.
Exactly.
Like, at the end of the day, like, it's, because at the end of the day, this podcast, it's not, what's the word?
Unawesome.
Lucrative in itself, but the opportunities it's afforded us have led to other things that have meant that we can start a whole business around it. And that can never be repaid.
No. And if we're bankrupt tomorrow, it's been a great year.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Like, you left...
Go crawling back.
Yeah, you left an extremely good job in the gaming industry. I left an extremely good job in IT to podcast. And it's just fucking awesome. So thanks to you guys. And by the way, that's why we give you things like 10% off roadie tuners. Type in promo code H2WAT. Because
exactly.
like anything we can do to give back, go for it. If you want some stuff, keep sending us messages. Send us messages and we will, maybe get to them.
Yeah,
we will.
We've got some big episodes coming up in the next few weeks. Building up to episode 50.
Ooh.
So
we're so cool.
Well, it's been a lovely morning because we've got up pretty early this morning, sacked off work, and said we're going to do this podcast
because
it's
got to be weekly.
We needed a podcast.
It's got to be weekly. I hope you guys enjoyed just us blethering along to each other. This is very much what it's like to be in the studio.
And don't forget to
Ooh,
rate, and subscribe on iTunes if you're
holy
bored.
moly.
We don't say that very often, but it really does help when people do it.
We've been a little bit lax on the How to Write a Tune reviews recently, but big changes happening.
Yeah.
We have a new editor-in-chief.
Oh, yeah.
That's right, editor-in-chief Hills. And she has her Charlie's Angel-esque group of writers out there right now putting together blogs and such. So we will tell you when that happens in the future, but there'll be tons more content coming onto the How to Write a Tune website for you to enjoy. And if you have any content you want to send us, go for it, because we are content hooers. Hooer, as my lovely Glaswegian Grammy would call them.
We're the Brass Cats.
Yeah, we are.
And this is Big Fat Hippie Girls.
Ooh.
See you next week.
Laters.
trying to keep me under your spell, but then time will make a change for me. 'Cause in this life, as you know it as it go, and it's completely under control. You can't feel life away complacency, yeah. Well, maybe next time you feel the sensation like it flows right through me. The situation's the reverse, and I will answer the questions that you put before me. If you'll answer this first, so come on now, do you feel? Yeah, if you got a little patience for me now. Come on, how do you feel? And have you got some water you can pour me? Come on, how do you feel? And have you got a little patience for me now? Come on, how do you feel? A little bit of patience and we get it on me. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Only you'll ever know if you've got what it takes to come back, recover control. But then time will teach us many things. 'Cause in this or the next life, you'll find a way you go with a return of the souls that you stole. And then maybe start redeeming things. But maybe this time you'll feel the sensation like it flows right through me. The situation's the reverse, and I will answer the questions that you put before me. If you'll answer this first, so come on now, do you feel? Have you got a little patience for me now? Come on, how do you feel? And have you got some water you can pour me? Come on, how do you feel? And have you got a little patience for me now? Come on, how do you feel? A little bit of patience and we get it on me. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh, hey, you got that for me.
And that, kids, is how to write a tune. Peace.